You know, when I think about my childhood, especially here in Atlanta, I think about being an Atlanta native, but being the grandson of Greek immigrant grandparents. All four of my grandparents immigrated from Greece. My parents were born here in the States, but we grew up in a Greek-American household. We were active in our faith, learned so much about Greek history, and then also the ideals and values of being Greek-American, and that meant a lot to me. Not only is Atlanta my home, but Atlanta is a place that I think provides opportunity for people not from Atlanta, but also those that have grown up in Atlanta to connect and serve together. One of the things that distinguishes Atlanta, in my view, is the connection between our business community, nonprofits, schools, houses of worship that work together and with our local government to make sure that Atlanta is the best city it can be and that we can do it together, which just makes all the difference.
You know, when you get to know Tim, I think the thing that I admire the most is really his selfless and how humble he is. You know, if you go in a room with Tim, you know, he's gonna say hello to everyone. If he meets a young person, you know, he spends the time with them. And so I think the thing I love about Tim is, you know, he is so down to earth and he is so wonderful to connect with everybody, regardless of the level or background.
But Tim is the definition of a leader that you would want. He's incredibly wise. He's a teacher, coach, a developer of people, and more than anything, he's the model of a servant leader. And he's always putting the desires of the organization above his personal goals or ambitions. And I've had the privilege to work under him over about the last 15 years and have learned an incredible amount of him. And not only does he have those skills and he focuses it on the business, but he takes those and uses those in the community and the community service that he does on a daily basis.
I was so fortunate to spend my entire career at Chick-fil-A, and having finished just recently, the end of 2023, I was very excited to take what I'd learned from Chick-fil-A and try to share that with others. And so I'm spending a lot of time in the community of Atlanta, Boys and Girls Clubs in Metro Atlanta, supporting educational institutions like Oglethorpe or Westminster, where our boys went to school. And I'm very excited about ministry. I'm Greek Orthodox, very active in the Greek Orthodox community here in Atlanta, but also across the country as well. So that combination of ministry and community service, for me, it gives me that opportunity to share what I've learned and try to help somebody else.
Tim's the perfect inductee for junior achievement. And that's because he is a consummate volunteer. It's not about him. He's very humble. He loves bringing people along. He is all about mentoring and growing other people. Tim is exceptional with young people. I've seen him with his sons. I've seen him with my sons. I've seen him with students in various contexts. And Tim is absolutely wonderful with younger people.
The teacher and coach really stands out. As I think about all the traits of Tim, I'd probably ask if you surveyed 100 people, they would all say Tim's a teacher or Tim's a coach. And he did. He read so many books. I think it's about 100 books a year he would typically read. And so he was always taking those nuggets of wisdom and sharing with us in the organization. So as I think about the impact that's had on myself and others, is he inspired us to do more than we thought we could do. And I've known so many people that have been pushed with responsibilities and things that they thought they weren't capable of doing. But it was that nudge from Tim and that belief that we could do more than we thought we could.
You know, I've got a lot of confidence in the future of not only this country, but the city of Atlanta as well, because I spend a lot of time with young people. And when I spend that time, I try to encourage them to think about three things. First is to be a lifelong learner, to just never stop growing. Be a student, not just of your craft, but of life. And then second, I encourage them to commit to excellence. Don't get trapped by success. How am I doing compared to somebody else? But commit to excellence. What am I doing with what I've been given? And do your very best. And then lastly is give back. That generosity, acts of kindness, philanthropy, that brings out the best in us. In fact, generosity is great because it serves the heart of the person that you actually are supporting, but it also grows your heart as well.
I think Tim's legacy is really going to be the impact that he's had on the community, both from a civic perspective and from a business perspective. I mean, Tim has done so much for our community with his involvement in boards, his financial support of his time, helping mentor leaders. and then also, once again, building one of the most successful companies in his industry and in the city of Atlanta.
When I think of some of the organizations that Tim served on with Boys and Girls Club, Boy Scouts of America, Westminster School, Oglethorpe University, a thread that's in all of those is his development of young people. And I think about the legacy of Tim. He's not only going to leave an impact here in Atlanta, but beyond, because of the investment he's making in the next generation of leaders that will be felt for generations into the future.
There's no question. I've had mentors in my life. My high school senior English teacher, my operator, Gary Geddes, True Kathy. They invested in me. In fact, I would say they poured into me. I wouldn't be the person I am today without that mentorship. And for me, I can't give back to them. The only thing I can do to honor them is to pay it forward. And so if I can mentor a young person, a young adult, and try to pour into them the way that I was poured into, then that's the way that I honor my teacher, my operator, and True.
Tim is a man of tremendous generosity and faith and optimism. And when you think about junior achievement and its impact on the youth of Atlanta, those qualities are the most important when you think of who should be honored by junior achievement.
Tim Tassopoulos is a laureate in the J.A. Atlanta Business Hall of Fame.